into game number 2. We have our Zerg player now starting to the top left of Star Station, being down 1 game already in the best of 5 series. It is
Grandmaster Woongjin Star Soulkey.
And the Terran that just seems like he can't possibly lose no matter what you do. It is
Grandmaster STXO Innovation.
You know, with the maps that we've seen earlier, what I'm worried about is, I personally, with the styles that they play and with what we see from Innovation, I cannot see Soulkey win on Bengali Beach.
Yeah, you might be right on that one.
That's the map. I mean, he can surprise me there, of course, but just looking at their styles and how solid Innovation plays these games, I feel a map like Bengali Beach, if Soulkey isn't able to just surprise Innovation and get an early win, this is one of the maps where I would give the Terran player a huge edge. So if Soulkey doesn't do it here, I think Bengali Beach is the 3rd map, right?
It is the 3rd,
So
yes.
if Soulkey doesn't take this game, I worry that we might actually see a 3.
Yeah, there is definitely that possibility, Calder. And in fact, I want to go ahead and say ahead of time, I think Soulkey needs to actually just roll a die and decide one of the 3 different Baneling Roach timings for Guangali. I think that, because, yeah, once Innovation secures that 3rd base, man, the push distance, he's just going to go right down the front of the beach. You know, for some reason, the sand doesn't slow the Marines down at all. And he's going to kill him.
Well, at this point on Star Station, we see the command center on the low ground here, and the drone is immediately trying to make something happen. He could actually go into a double hatch before pool now, Soulkey that is, now that he identified this build. And he's actually doing it. He's moving out with the drone, a really good response. I love this, because so often we see a Zerg player scout this build in particular early on in the game and not reacting to it, just trying to play his standard style and accepting that he will be a little bit behind.
Yeah, I have to agree with you completely there. I really love double hatch before pool. I think it's a really strong build. If you drone scout, a lot of the times you can just do it. You know, there's not a ton of Terran builds that aren't gonna. You know, everyone's going command center first, and even if they don't, you might be able to do it if they're not going to scout you too quickly. So it's a nice choice.
Yeah. We still have the gas here for Innovation, and he gets his own scout into the main base now. And with that, of course, he is going to note that something is just a tiny little bit off, and that SCV is going to head over to the 3rd base to just confirm what he's already suspecting at this point, that there is the double hatch before pool.
Right. So, macro game ensues. Where does Innovation go from here? Well, you know, I would not be surprised if he goes into a single factory, 3rd command, double eBay type of play. But because you would expect that as Soulkey could counter that by going for something kind of crazy aggressive. But with no gases so far, I think he might actually just be so confident in his macro game, as we saw last game, he might just go ahead and play completely straight up.
Yeah. But as you already said, for Innovation, I would also expect the 3rd command center to be built quite soon, because with what he scouted, he knows that this is definitely a bit of a weak point, and Soulkey can't possibly attack him early on. He could, on the other hand, also just try to be a little bit aggressive with this, but then he really has to do damage, or he will fall behind. That's always that trade-off that you go for. Early aggression in this game, early is a bit of a relative term, but like early aggression against like a stable economy build.
Alright, well, we'll be seeing that in a minute here. The bank is getting rather high for Innovation, so that extra command center looking more and more likely. And there it is. Alright. So the super macro game is occurring. In fact, going up to 4 queens is Soulkey. I thought, okay, there we go. I was going to say, I would really prefer to see 5, and in fact, he does start that 5th one. So really nice play there, because when you have this 3rd base that quickly, and you know your opponent's going to be playing super macro mode as well, get the extra queen out, get your creep spread really going everywhere so you can actually react and actually have enough creep to stop any incoming attacks.
It's also then about the extra queens so that you can use them for hold position if there is an attempted Hellion attack. That's always worth so much. We've seen so many players lose in the past because they didn't have these extra queens to block a gap. So if he gets the evolution chambers, we might see them up at the front.
By the way, that spine crawler in the minerals of a 3rd base is rather sexy from Soulkey, because he knows that is exactly where drone kills will occur. So he just puts it down, because it's like, you may as well have that there. That is exactly where the Hellions are going to dart in and out. They're going to start pretending to poke into the natural, and then they're going to come here, and you know, this with the spine there, you see it one time, you may not even try there again.
That third is the sweetness. And now we see exactly what I just said. We had the evolution chamber at the front as part of the wall, and the extra queens are perfect to block the gap if the Hellions really try to commit and get into the main or natural. So, really solid defense here at the beginning from Soulkey. I like it a lot.
Huh. And with that quick layer, and ooh, the Roach Warren. There we go. I like it. I would have liked a little bit more if it was out of scan radius. A lot of people do like to push that tumor like we saw from Symbol and get it out of scan radius, but not this time. And a couple eBays coming down, but the 1-1 hasn't started yet for Soulkey. I'd love to see that start right away.
Yeah, and you know, he actually, like, looking at it, he still is, he's not getting too many overloads right now, but he has a nice supply buffer that he could use for units. And let's see if he starts at 1-1 or if he actually, yeah, there it is, 1-1. And there is actually a timing where you can hit with 1-1 upgrades and speed for your units, so that might be something that he's considering right now.
It's one of the most powerful Roach Baneling timings. It does a lot of damage, it's very difficult to stop, and to even know that that's exactly what's coming takes a little bit to actually scout. Because you don't necessarily make all the roaches or anything right away, but these Hellions are actually, despite that, doing good damage. 8 drone kills so far.
You can actually play that timing even without the Banelings. Even just massive roach
that is true,
so difficult to hold. If you're relying just on a couple of Widow Mines, you're never going to hold that. They are going to scratch a few roaches, but with that sheer amount of units, you can push that back. So.
And at the minimum, you can force a lift on the third and probably kill all the SCVs there.
The distance is a bit of an issue here, but with this fast upgrade style that we have for innovation and him not getting any siege tanks, it's something that you can pull off. We would need a lot more overlords though.
Yeah, he probably will start some of those pretty soon here. Has a pretty good amount of roaches in production, so yeah, it does look like it's going to be that pure roach push. And if I take a look at the actual units that are out for innovation, he doesn't really have a good selection against just mass 1-1 roaches. His 1-1 upgrades are going to finish just behind it, so he'll probably have those, but he only has like one Marauder out right now and no factory units aside from Hellions.
Yeah, and just look at those upgrades. They line up beautifully, and now we have the additional Overlord. I would have really loved him to get a little bit faster because now he's supply blocked and has to actually wait. But it works quite well with his resources. So here come the roaches across the map, exactly the timing that we just talked about. And there is only one Marauder, there is nothing else. There are like no Widow Mines, there's no siege tank, there are very few bunkers. He sees it right now, but he sees it very late in the game.
Yeah, this is pretty tough, man. This is a lot of roaches coming in. He does have that bunker there. He does have a couple medevacs with a few more about to pop out, but he's going to easily pick up this bunker, and as more roaches come down, I think he's going to be able to take out these Marines as well.
Yeah, he's moving in. The roaches are moving in as well, but so far, Innovation doing a decent job. He has those units in the back, focusing that down quite well, and there are not enough roaches to make it happen. Innovation somehow holds that with flying colors.
Yeah, that was a much better hold than actually what I was expecting.
I think his units were a little bit too just scattered on the map.
You know, the SCVs came up, tanked a good amount of the damage. He didn't have quite as many roaches as maybe wanted. He was He was stuck at 134 supply at that moment. And you know what? 1-1 combat shield stim and 4 medevacs is pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I really expected him to do more damage than that, but as it turns out, Soulkey is just completely on the run. And he invested a lot into this unit composition, which slowed the rest of his tech down. And it's not like he traded evenly there.
No.
He got himself a bloody nose and now has to run home with his tail tucked between his legs.
He does, and he is getting the Baneliness, he is getting the Spire, but drop harassment is going to do a good job against him for a bit. And it's going to be a while until he has Baneling Speed. So the first attack that hits when he doesn't have Baneling Speed is going to be quite scary as well.
And he's now transitioning into Limiter Baneling, so he's going for another set of upgrades that will delay his upgrades in general just a little bit. Nice, taking down that Overseer. The Widow Mine is going to be alive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it looks like that mine gets a few drone kills. Not the biggest deal in the whole world, but you know, the drop harassment can be something very annoying before the Spire's done.
A 4th base now for Soulkey. The problem that you sometimes have as a Zerg player on this map when you have a very aggressive Terran against you is once you take the 5th base, because then you are very spread on the map, and a good Terran player will capitalize on that and just move in at the 4th and 5th at the same time with just a few units, and that exposes you a lot.
Yeah. Well, here comes the push from Innovation going up the center. Not too much creep there. And look at that annoying drop location. That is such an annoying thing to have to deal with. Does have to send his roaches over. In the meantime, a double drop going up towards his natural and now into his main base. This is what happens when you don't have anti-air.
Great scan. He sees so many tumors and he takes them down immediately. Creep spread for now thwarted in the main base. At the natural, actually, the drop happening. The drones of the mineral line. He could snipe the Spire. If he moves in, he's going to snipe that.
Uh-oh, and he very well could, but instead he's deciding to kill some units, and that's not necessarily a bad call because he does have this huge attack at the front. He wants to reduce those so his army can deal even more damage.
He is about to supply block his opponent, but now taking down so many units that the loss of Overlords doesn't even matter anymore. And Innovation playing a great game here, being 30 supply up at this point in time, and just crashing his opponent over and over again at the 4th and the 3rd in the middle of the map. Great.
Yeah, really nice moves here by Innovation, but we have Baneling speed about to finish. We do have that +2 carapace and +1 melee as well, and some mutas, so he can start dealing with the drops with the mutas, and with Baneling speed, he can start dealing with these attacks a little bit better.
But also the 2-2 is going to be completed in a few seconds. There it is for Innovation. So this gives Innovation once again a slight upgrade lead over his opponent that he can try to carry in. And he is catching a few of those units completely off guard, taking down another Overlord, and Soulkey is always on the verge of being supply blocked.
Oh, here we go. Soulkey trying to hold this little group of Innovation's units off. It looks like he's going to lose all his roaches and lings. Does have to withdraw for now. And another big rally from Innovation coming up with a 40 supply lead. I don't think that Soulkey's going to hold on much longer.
Roaches are just not the unit that you want to have, but he built so many of them early on that he has to utilize those. But at this point, he can't really do a lot with them. And now suddenly the roaches, or most of them, are already gone. He's dropping in supply. GG Innovation with a quick 2-0 against Soulkey.
Well, I do have to say that that roach attack did not do anywhere near what I thought it was going to do.
Yeah,
it was looking like I thought he had enough to push back this small amount of Marines and medevacs and start killing SCVs at the 3rd. And if he had that, he would have been in an okay spot. But instead, he kind of lost that attack, and from there, Innovation just knew that he could out-multitask and macro Soulkey because he just didn't have the economy or unit set available to stop it.
You know what also, like, one of the factors where we had, there were two things in my opinion. First of all, he chose a little bit of a later timing. A lot of Zerg players that go for this 1-1 timing will do that on 3 bases, but not saturate the 3rd. They will just saturate 2 bases and use the 3rd base for the production. And he also lost a fair amount of harvesters to those Hellions. That slowed it down a little bit and reduced the roach numbers. And I feel that Innovation, I mean, we talked about it before. It seems always like he doesn't have any holes in his defense at all.
It seriously does. Like, he holds things that I don't think he's going to, but you know what? He had those upgrades all done in time and did a great job of it. And the kid looks invincible. The
Wunjing Stars coach that you just see in the booth, he's one of the reasons why MMA back in the days was so successful. Like, he's one of the best when he comes down preparing for a specific opponent and just preparing builds. He basically told MMA back then, when he kind of won everything, how to play. And even he can't come up with anything that Soulkey can do against Innovation. This is just crazy.
To be honest, though, this is how Soulkey generally likes to beat Innovation, is go down a match point, then come back and kill him. He wants to get the maximum amount of emotional scarring on Innovation, so we'll see if that works out.
Yeah, but Guangali Beach is going to be the next map, the 3rd map, and that is going to be tough to win, I feel.
It certainly is. That's kind of a direct pushing distance, and all the other bases that are kind of in the middle, down the streets, very thin.
Unless he has really a build prepared that is going to hit Innovation on 2 bases.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he should, but we're going to jump to a quick commercial break, guys, but soon we'll be back with game number 3.